I hope the audience of this channel are enjoying the latest videos. Maybe it's worthwhile to stop the recording, the loop of the last plea for help, the plea for help of a hunted animal that you hear in a loop, and to explain something for the people that are kind of less knowledgeable in the works of humans, and specifically of intelligence services, and specifically that of the Americans. So I discussed it actually at length in this channel in the past, and also I've discussed how I exactly came to understand, I discussed the learning process, how I discovered all these issues. But now I just keep to kind of very concisely, just very short description of an intelligence of a weapon, or more like a totalitarian instrument that is used by the Israeli intelligence to subjugate the Titans. But this is an American invention, and of course it's used by the Americans. You hear a lot about the golden earring. This is something very common. So its name is even something that is almost like public knowledge, maybe even public, I don't know. But it's the idea is very famous, but the actual implementation is different, and it became much more common since cellular phones were a commonplace, specifically smartphones. But it should be said that it was already very, very common during the 80s, because you don't need smartphone for that. Many times, this kind of, I should say now that this terror device is predicated on the nature of both Homo sapiens and Titans. They are both, it was discovered very quickly that they are both, have the same vulnerability to this mechanism. So it's used both against Titans to enslave them, and also against other enemies of the states, both of Israel and the United States. But as usual against Titans, it is used just because of the fact that they were born Titans, and that's it. No other crime or presumed crime. And also should be said that with the grace of God, I am a unique case. I'm not the same in that aspect. In many aspects, I'm just like Titans and Homo sapiens, but in some aspects of my physiology, I'm different. And this is it was proved to be again with the grace of God something that I'm not like humans and Titans. I have some kind of immunity to this mechanism, even not a complete immunity, and I'm tortured a lot, throughout my life by that. But I have considerable. This is kind of so I'll just explain what is it very shortly. It's a way to keep the same recording, but not audible, in a subliminal, a layer of of the sound waves that you cannot you cannot hear it, but sometimes you can actually hear it. But there are all sorts of variation. It's not just one kind of, it's not like one program. It's kind of a whole mechanism. But the idea is to put subliminal sounds in repeatedly so in your brain, and this serves for 3 reasons that are different. This is kind of, as I said, it's a whole mechanism, that is used for several reasons, but they're all totalitarian. One is to convey a subliminal message. This is in line with the hypnotic theory that is always very, very famous inside intelligence organization, both in Russia and the United States and Israel. This is first, and this is done also while you're asleep. The second is just to terrorize you, to keep you, and when it's done like that, mostly it's not completely subliminal. You can actually hear it to some extent, because it's specifically used to terrorize you. And the third one is the one that is kind of the least I think known or understood, but this is in order to make you addicted to the sound. So it was discovered, I don't know when, but certainly it was already known during the 1980s that if that it's possible, and again, to make a person, again, both Titans and Homo sapienses, to make them addicted to a sound that they don't even hear, like it's a loop, a recording that is done in loop, and that they don't even like know that they listen to it, but they are always listening to it, because it comes like from presumably like from something that is installed in the walls of their home, and now it's almost always comes from the smartphone, like in our times, but it was already used before smartphones or even before cellular phones, just from the car or whatever, and then you are addicted to it, and if you and there are also sort of variations of how much you are addicted to it. I mean, like, for how long can you actually leave the source of the sound, and how far can you be from it? I mean, until you start to feel pain. That's why, I mean, it was so common to see Titans walk just like that. I mean, I cannot, with the phone like that, like I do now, like I walk the street now. So you'll be able, I mean, this is kind of like imitations of the way of the Titans. That, I mean, when they were misbehaved, or just, I mean, when people wanted, like, I mean, to torture them, because it was perfectly legal to torture Titans, like, I mean, no problem. I mean, so the mechanism is set, because it's programmable, so they will like be completely addicted to it in a way that they must like hear this noise all the time. So you see them even walking the streets like that all the time. Like, I mean, after some time, I mean, the hand is kind of like it's getting tired, so you need to switch hands. But after some time, both hands are tired. But if they leave it in the kind of like the maximum, like, I mean, the maximum cruelty level of this program, they cannot even leave it for a second. They must like always keep the sound like the source of the sound like straight in the ear. So they walk the street just like that, like you see me now. But I mean, this is like the maximum level of torture. But I mean, the usual level of torture that is subjected to all the Titans, like 100% of them, females and males, as a standard, without any pretext, and it's also used against like enemies of the state, both in Israel and the United States, is that, I mean, you don't always need to be near it, but if you leave, I mean, the source of the sound, and there can be several sorts of sounds. I mean, it can be installed in several phones that you have. Mostly, I mean, it's like, it doesn't work without the SIM. And I spoke about it quite a bit, and this generates like a whole mythology of like, I mean, of people that are kind of like, I mean, breaking their SIM is kind of like, I mean, as a ritual suicide. Like, I mean, it's kind of symbolical suicide. I spoke about that in the past. I don't want to get into it because it belongs to a whole new aspect of the torture, and it's kind of, it's not. I want to be very concise now. So I mean, without the SIM, I mean, without the SIM, the phone doesn't like play this sound. So you have to be always like with the SIM, like with the SIM card. But this could be installed in several, like not only in your phone with that, in the SIM card, but also like in your car. I mean, mostly, certainly if it's like a smart car, like the more modern like smart cars, and in your home. So you can have various sources, but I mean, you have to, I mean, when you're outside, like, I mean, when you walk outside, or like, like not in the car, you have to be always with the phone, and you cannot leave the SIM out. And so, so in the normal settings, so there's a question of like, I mean, how long can you be without it until you feel like, I mean, the negative effects, and also what are the negative effects, and what's the maximal negative effects? Like, I mean, what happens if you completely, like, I mean, abandon the SIM card, and I mean, decide to just, I mean, leave it? So I cannot answer for certain, because this is where my nature comes to play. I cannot be addicted to it like entirely. I can be addicted to it, and I was addicted to it like a tremendous amount of time through my life, and also weaned from it. Like, I mean, because I can stop this addiction, and I know how it's done, and I can. I mean, it's not terrible to wean off it. Like, I mean, it's not something terrible for me. It's less of like, I mean, in the past I was kind of like mingling with alcoholism. Like, I mean, I would say, like, I mean, mild, or to maybe not that mild, to be honest. Like, I mean, alcoholism, and it's not as bad as like as a medium, I would say, hangover, not even like wild hangover. So it's not that bad, like, I mean, for me. But this is, I mean, obviously something that is very different. I mean, because I don't know what are the consequences for Titans and humans. I do know that they never do it. Like, I mean, in essence, they feared of death. I do not know if this fear is justified, but I do know that they fear to die. That, I mean, they think, like the humans and the Titans that are subjected to it, that if they really leave their phone for more than an hour, or maybe you can set it to more than an hour. When I wean myself out of it, it starts, I mean, kind of like, I mean, yeah, the detox, or, I mean, you know, or I don't know how to call it, like, I mean, weaning process, like when you are weaned of a drug, I mean, it starts, for me, it starts about like after an hour, and it ends after like 3 hours. And it's if I do not eat before that, and if I drink a good amount of water during these kind of 2 or 3 hours, I mean, it's pretty much like, I mean, it's not a big pain. I mean, I'm used to pain because I'm tortured all my life. It's not nice, but I mean, it's with the grace of God. I mean, for certain, I mean, you like Homo sapiens and Titans feel something considerably different, and de facto they fear death. I do not know if this fear is justified. I know that they fear death. They fear that they will die. I mean, they just don't do it. It's not done by them. To just say in one like, I mean, just mention that, I mean, for this reason, I mean, many times I've broken my SIM card, like in all sorts of like places that I were, like in Israel, that I knew that intelligent people are watching me. So I broke the SIM card, like, I mean, like, you know, cut it, like, and throw it to the garbage. And like, I mean, just later, I mean, went, you know, to Dynamica, which kind of, you know, a Cellcom, like, I mean, distributor, just it's, you can get a new SIM card for free. So I've done it dozens of times the last 3 years. Dozens of times. You know, I remember there's like, I mean, one, like, you know, Dynamica in Ramat Aviv Mall that I've, like, I mean, maybe 10 times I've went there to get a new one. And there is one, like, you know, with in Malcha, in Kenon Malcha in Jerusalem, with 2 like very pretty, like, I mean, female workers. Like, I mean, I remember them because they are very pretty, like one like blonde and one brunette, and so, and they just give you it for free, like, I mean, another car, like, you know, just, I mean, so you can do, I mean, so, but people around you, they are sure that this is kind of like a ritual suicide, so they expect you to behave in all sorts of ways after that. And it's kind of like, it was a way for me to learn all sorts of stuff. I do not do it anymore because I'm past that, but I mean, there was like a time in this kind of a discovery journey, mainly, I mean, from 3 years ago to 1.5 years ago, that I've had all sorts of, like, I mean, kind of like a cat and mouse, like, I mean, I don't do it anymore. I mean, I'm past it. But I mean, I had all sorts of like cat and mouse, like, I mean, you know, games with the people that, I mean, they hunted me, and one of the kind of, like, I mean, one of the common rituals was actually to cut the SIM card visibly and to throw it, because then they think that I mean, now the robot is subjugated to the wheel, because it will surely be like, I mean, insane, or I don't know what they expect will happen, because again, with the grace of God, I am immune to it. Even though I do feel like, I mean, during the process of winning, I feel it, like, I feel that it's taking place. And again, sometimes, I mean, it's the kind of like the program sets to maximum level. I don't know how it can manifest, like, physically, but in that case, I mean, they don't even have their hour, like, they don't even have a minute. Like, they always need to walk like that with the phone stick to the, even if their hands hurt, they need to walk like that in order not to feel tremendous pain. So sometimes you can see that Titans walk like that. And this is kind of like, this is what I imitate now when I play the same record, like, again and again. You hear it like Bolero, who is like stronger every time. So you need to understand, every punishment that you are subjected to, I mean, it's got like a very, very simple reason why. You just need to search for the reason. I mean, if you don't, if you have the ego is too kind of high to search for the reason, you will never get the reason. But if you just want to, if you really want to know the reason, it is sure, you are assured that, I mean, after, like, I mean, 1 minute search, you will find the reason. You will find the reason. And one last point with regards to the advanced nations, and specifically the nuclear, the המשפחה האטומית, as they say, like the nuclear family, like, I mean, the family of nations that, I mean, have nuclear power and nuclear weapons. The only thing that matters with regards to the judgment of your characters is the question of how you treat strangers without political power. This was known by humans since thousands of years ago. It was known by everybody. The Arabs, the ancient Arabs, like in Arabia, the ancient Greeks, the ancient Jews, the ancient Chinese, all of them knew that. I mean, it was like a universal truth in earth, that cultures are judged by how they treat strangers that have no political power. This was known all around the globe. You are not judged by your theater shows. No, no, no. Your theater shows do not matter at all. Your charades, your plays, your concerts mean nothing. The only thing that matters is how you treat strangers. And that's how you treat strangers. Because all of you know, but just, whoever listen to me, this is not like top secret, what I've just said. Like the golden earring is a well-known mechanism that is, I don't know when it started, but it was certainly widely used during the 1980s. You don't need like a smartphone for that, but it's much like easier to implement it with smartphone. But you can be certain that each of the nations of the nuclear family, like the nations with nuclear power, 100% they all know about it and use it for certain. And of course, more than everyone against strangers without political power, people that cannot, that have no voice, So if you ask yourself why you are now punished with hearing this kind of like recording in ever increasing volume to a point that you cannot stand it, so the answer is extremely simple. Why? Because that's what you do to strangers, to innocent strangers for many, many, many years. And you do it without shame and without remorse because you are monsters.